All right.
We're recording.
We
Okay,
are.
I don't have my little cheat sheet, but I'm going to call the meeting to order. We have a continued public hearing from December 15th and definitive subdivision 6563 Nahattan Street. And so we're just continued. Are we taking more, what are we taking? More discussion? Or are we just going to a vote?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Mr. Hearn.
Thank you. For the record, David Hearn Jr. on behalf of the applicant. We last met with you, as you mentioned, December 15th. It was continued to this date. And at the last meeting, the board had considered and discussed and voted on some of the waivers that had been proposed initially. And the result of that was that the board agreed with respect to the count of trees that it was not necessary to count every tree on the site, and that we were to count the trees within 30 feet of the boundaries. And that was voted on, and that was it was agreed that the limited counting would be satisfactory. That applied to a second waiver. The first one I'm referring to is number one. The fourth one followed that way, and that passed, and that had to do with counting trees after the project is done.
I only have 3 waivers here.
And the third one had to do, that you voted on, had to do with the idea of a dead-end street, which our regulations, we're operating under the subdivision rules and regulations, are a little bit confusing on, but I think the suggestion was to remove any question or doubt to vote on that, and that was approved. And my note here is that the board voted 4-1 to approve the cul-de-sac as designed, meaning as it's shown on the plans. So those 3 guided us, the votes on those 3 matters guided us in terms of what additional information we prepared. In the case of the trees, we commissioned somebody to take the count. I believe that report has been filed with Brandon Lee, who's from the engineering firm, Kelly Engineering, can speak to that.
Do we have that report?
Brandon, I think that everything was filed.
I can mention. So this is Carrie McCormack, Director of Development with Crosspoint Associates. So it wasn't just a count. It was actually identifying and locating the trees, and they've been added to the site plan. So you'll note and see that they've been added into the plan.
This one?
All circles. Yeah, the updated set. Yeah.
The updated one that was filed about the 16th, I believe.
Okay.
All right. Now, with respect to the other waivers that had been proposed, the board indicated it was not willing to go along with those. And so based on that guidance, we've updated the plans to show the information that that the board wanted to see. And I think, as Ms. Dixon mentioned at the last meeting, the types of several of the proposed waivers related to application materials. Did you or did you not want these particular types of information provided? So we had the guidance from you, and on that basis, we submitted updated plans and a stormwater report. I think it was about the 16th, just before the holiday weekend. And so that we believe that those filings show that there are no open waiver questions. The board has spoken on what you will or will not agree to, and we've gone based on that.
Are you referring to Mark Ryan's memorandum?
No, I'm not. No, I'm just referring to the waivers themselves.
Okay.
Now, Ryan's memorandum we got last Thursday, afternoon. And I believe that most of what he's talking about are items that are either are on the plan or can be added to the plan. And I think the suggestion was on that by Ms. Dixon in her memo to you folks, that the information requested by Mr. Ryan, and I think this was her on page 3, item number 3, the applicant shall submit revised plans addressing the requests from the town engineer in his January 22nd memorandum to the satisfaction of the town engineer, loaded no later than 30 days from the date of this decision. That's fine with us. We can add the items, and there were a couple of items that I think he felt he wanted to discuss with the applicant, and we're happy to have that discussion. So if he wants some of these items added to the plans, or labeled on the plans, that's something we can certainly do. Some of his
And we
comments,
can make that part of the decision?
that would be one of the conditions that Ms. Dixon proposed.
Okay,
All right. And then our folks would meet with him and discuss those items. So he mentioned, I think under drainage, he said that the item number 4, I think it was, he said discussion, I'm sorry, number 3, Roman number 2, he says the department needs to discuss with the engineer the practicality of the recharge system and the discharge of the recharge system under number 4. Further discussions with the engineer will be needed. So we're happy to discuss that. Those 2 items with our engineer, with the town engineer, Mr. Ryan. The roadway reference is just an instruction that if, and this can be included in the condition, that if we do any digging in Hatton Street as part of this project, it would be milled and paved, and he's laying out what he wants done there, curb to curb, and the thickness and all that. He wanted a couple of other items, a revision date on the cover page, and he reminded us about some permits we would need, and the light department will need to review and approve the proposed electrical and street lighting. Again, these are all items that can be conditioned. So I think that deals with what Mr. Ryan was concerned about. It didn't seem to be anything major, and if either Kerry McCormick or Brandon Lee wants to speak to that as to the detail, they're the engineers. Well, Kerry's an engineer, but Brandon's with Kelly Engineering, so they want to speak to that. That's fine.
I have a quick question, Sarah. Because this is a definitive subdivision, does he have to bury the electric wires?
No, not to my knowledge.
They are shown underground though.
They are.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. So Ms. Dixon had comments on the updates, I think, and noted some areas of further review as well as some suggested conditions. The board offered partial waivers of 1 and 4, and we've acted based on that. And also the board voted to agree that the cul-de-sac is satisfactory under your rules and regulations. That was, I think, number 5. So,
Mr. Hearn, let me interrupt you 1 second.
Yeah.
What waiver requests, I have section 4.3.3, 4.K, 4.3.3P, and 5.6.2F. And those are the only 3 waivers that are on the waiver request that I have on my sheet. Are there more?
Those were voted on already. Debbie,
Yeah.
I provided those to you on your memo just as a summary of the last meeting, but the board already took action on those waiver requests.
So the new ones are where on our sheet?
Right.
There's
There
no
are-
new waiver requests.
Okay,
there are no waivers being requested on this plan except for those 3 items that you already voted on.
all right.
And
All
as
right, all right, now I've got that straight.
no
Got it.
further action is needed on the waivers is what Ms. Dixon said in her memo, and I think I agree on that because you covered that at the last meeting.
All right,
Okay.
okay.
All right. And then so I mean, we're happy to take questions, and if anybody has questions on what we recently submitted, then I think was distributed to you. And then I think be appropriate to have a discussion about what to do
All right.
going forward and about these several conditions that were proposed by Ms. Dixon.
All right, then I'm going to go to the board, and does anyone have any questions? Brian or Joe or Ernie? Anybody?
No.
Ernie,
It does.
you gotta unmute yourself.
Just for the other board members, I'm fine with on Mr. Ryan's memo that if the board was in the mind to vote tonight on this, that one of the conditions would be that before it could be enacted, Mr. Ryan and the applicant would get together and the building department, planning department, excuse me, would get a memo from Mr. Ryan saying that they've had their discussion and everything is ready to go. So instead of continuing this for another meeting, while those are addressed or put on the map, the plans, I would suggest to the other board members, possibly we could just make that as a condition, that a letter from Mr. Ryan to the planning department stating that they've taken care of any, it doesn't look to be anything major here, that anything was taken care of. That way we don't have to make a continuance. And then also part of the condition would be that suggested condition. I think we should throw it in there. The one that Sarah and town council and I think Attorney Aaron were involved in, the condition number 1 there.
Which
that
one's that?
Well, it was the big one that, Madam Chair, that if they were to go forward with a legitimate plan of construction with that they would have to come back and take care of everything again. It was just basically to cover the board.
Would require the applicant to return to the planning board? Is that
Yeah,
number 1, second paragraph?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, and so we don't have to continue this public hearing further. I'd be fine with a letter from Mr. Ryan saying that they met with the applicant. I don't know if Attorney Hearn, if that is fine with you or not.
Madam Chair, may I speak on that? We have no issue with the suggestion, and I think it was Ms. Dixon's proposed condition number 3 to be included in any decision, with condition number 3 to submit the revised plans addressing the request from the town engineer
Correct.
memorandum no later than 30 days, and that includes having a discussion with him. We have no problem with that. So that part of it is fine.
Him being Mr. Ryan, correct?
We'll add the items that he's requesting that we add to the plan before it's submitted to you for final signature. As often happens on these plans, you vote to approve them with conditions. The conditions sometimes include updating some items that have come out of memos from Mr. Ryan or others. And we put those on the plan and then come back to the board some evening for actual signature of the plan. You've already voted to approve it with the conditions, but you don't sign it because we can't give you a plan tonight to sign. We bring that back later.
So
Now-
before you have any plan, you've got to come back in front of us.
No. This is the mechanics of a physical plan on a Mylar sheet.
Yep.
That's recordable. We will make the changes that Mr. Ryan is suggesting in his memo. We will have the discussion that he is requesting in his memo. We'll report back and he will report back to the board. And we will take care of those things within the 30 days that Ms. Dixon has suggested, so that once we square away put those details on the plans and have the discussion with Mr. Ryan and the report comes back to you, we will then prepare the final version of the plan that incorporates those items
Okay.
and bring that to the board. Now,
Okay.
the other thing, though, that I wanted to talk about is condition number 1 in the recommended conditions of approval, the suggested conditions of approval. Condition number 1 is something that I initially drafted, and then it was reviewed by town council and the planning department. that was drafted at a time when we were requesting a whole bunch of waivers. And I think the idea, there was a concern that, well, if we give all these waivers, how do we know you're actually going to do it when the time comes? Instead, we now have a plan that has 2 specific waivers that you voted on, and the third item, which we can call a waiver, maybe not, about the cul-de-sac, the dead-end road. Those are resolved. All the other waivers have gone away because we have done the items that those waivers related to, and they're on the plan.
Okay, I'm only speaking for me, but if it's a moot point and we're not going to do it anyway, I'm more comfortable leaving item 1 in our condition of approval.
But Madam Chair, I don't understand what the point of that condition is now that all the waivers have been dealt with. Because it's telling us that somehow that we have to come back, we have something less than an approval, and we can't do anything until we come back and you review the adequacy of the information, the adequacy of the plans and the waiver requests. We've
Again-
already done that.
Again, this is the circle we've been going around in since this started. We're not going to do it, but we need the thing. I'm just more comfortable. I'm only speaking for myself. You have 3 other members here. I'm more comfortable with you're not going to do it. You've already covered the waivers, but you need to come back to us when the plan is more succinct.
Madam Chair, the plan is complete as a subdivision plan now. I don't know is there something you think will come back later to be added for your
I
review?
don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I don't.
Right, so
I'm just more comfortable with you need to come back to us because we're not going to do this project, but
we may
we're-
not, we may, and your approval gives us permission to do this subdivision plan. But I think that what people are getting confused about here and wrapping into this proceeding is the idea that someday this property will be developed under the zoning bylaw.
Why is that confusing?
No, well, because it has nothing to do with the present proceedings. That's what I'm saying to you. You're not being asked to pass upon requests for special permits or site plan approval or any kind of development of this site. You're only being asked to pass upon a subdivision plan that is governed under a separate statute from the Zoning Act, which is governed by the subdivision rules and regulations and not by the zoning bylaws, and which
Okay. So why is the first condition a problem if you've got the waiver requested covered and you can do this anyway, but you still need to have a little guidance? We need to know what's going on. Why is that a problem?
because what this condition says is that we cannot construct this subdivision until we
Well, I
come
should come
back.
back to us.
Be finished, if I could, ma'am.
Yep.
We can't come back to this we cannot do any construction on a subdivision that we're asking you to approve today until we come back with updated plans. Upon receipt of the notice, the planning board shall hold a duly posted public hearing on the adequacy of plans, information, and waiver requests, and consider granting authorization to proceed. That's like saying, we're going to approve a plan,
Right.
and you can't do anything with it until you come back and do the whole process all over again. And this was applicable when we when we were suggesting that we would not provide the information that we have since provided. I'm sorry, Kerry would like to speak.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. So the detail that I think you've been looking for, everybody is looking forward to, is the more like detailed site plan approval, where we'll have actual buildings and more details, parking lots, utilities, and things like that throughout the property, versus just this simple cul-de-sac details. So the cul-de-sac and this definitive subdivision, we've provided the details for that, and I think we're just trying to get that clear so there's not a lot of pieces hanging out there. The more detailed items and plans we would come back, and that's what we would come back and you would have to approve, is the site plan approval for a more defined development.
But that's a different proceeding. That has nothing to do with subdivision.
Mr. Hearn, I do understand it. I am not being obtuse. I just, again, we've talked about this. I want my other board members to chime in. It feels like we're going around in a circle. We need this basically to freeze the zoning. And you're going to build this thing, but you're not going to build this thing. So it's clear as mud to me. So if you're not gonna, if it's not an issue, why can't we leave in the first one? Joe
Because-
or Brian or Ernie, do you have anything you'd like to? Joe's raising his hand.
I think Mr. Hearn has covered it, and it's normal that if they were to come and do something else, that they would have to come back to us. So I think whatever he's doing now, this first phase, we'll just call it that for now. I think we're all covered. And if there's anything else to be added later on, like buildings, as Mr. McCormick said, they would have to come back to us no matter what.
Oh.
So
Why aren't we comfortable with the first one? And I'll be the first to admit that Sarah gives us stuff and sometimes I don't listen, maybe to my detriment, but have gone over this with her. It seems like a moot point to me. Brian, you were bobbing your head.
No, so what I was concerned about at the initial stage with the bigger list of waivers, I believe has been addressed. Mr. Ryan has provided a memorandum of what he would like to see, and I am satisfied to move forward with those being incorporated into conditions.
All right, but
So-
sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it.
So condition number 1 of approval, which Mr. Hearn wants to take out and I want to leave in, where are you with that one?
I have heard everybody speak, and I do understand Mr. Hearn's, for lack of a better description, position or argument on the matter. That effectively, if it were left in, it basically is this approval. If we were to approve tonight, means nothing because he'd effectively have to come back and represent and seek a further approval. So I understand. I'm okay excluding that particular condition and leaving the remainder, which are requirements that have been set forth by the department and by Mark.
Ernie?
Yeah, just in after hearing everyone, I kind of agree with Joe and Brian. They're asking for approval on this cul-de-sac, and the waivers have been addressed. Everything's been addressed. So approving this gives them the okay to go ahead and build what's on the plan, which would be the cul-de-sacs. They could build it or not. That's up to them. If they do want to come back with a supermarket or whatever, then that's a whole nother procedure and a whole nother thing. But for what they're asking, they've in my mind at this point have taken care of it, have cleared all the hurdles. And if they want to build this cul-de-sac, if we choose to approve it tonight, they would be fine. We don't need them to come back. We've taken care of all the outstanding issues on the waivers and Mr. Ryan's memo, of course. So I agree with Joe and Brian that we could exclude this definitely.
Okay, I only have one, and it's probably in your plans, Mr. McCormick. Curbing for the street, is curbing in there, granite curbing, or is it in the plan? My request would be anything that's in the public area, like coming off in Manhattan Street, be granite. Can I put that in there somewhere?
Brandon probably knows. You know the curbing?
I think we've done that, Madam Chair. We've done whatever is required by the rules and regulations. Which
We're
are-
not required to do granite. I'm requesting granite in any kind of public. We're not going to build it anyway, but anywhere the public would be accessing off in Manhattan Street, that it be granite. Brandon, is that?
You're muted. I think you're muted, Brandon. At least I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you either. It might be in the plans and I didn't see it. I don't know.
I can pull it up quick.
Trees burying the lines and granite curb in public access ways are my thing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yes.
hear you now.
Yeah, all the curb is granite.
Okay, thank you. That's on the plan?
That's correct.
And burying the wires in the, any of the overhead wires are also in the plan?
I'm sorry.
Underground electric.
Underground, all the electric's underground? Okay. All right. Does anybody have any other questions? I can go to people online, Sarah. I see 7 others. So, but I don't see any. I just see letters and 7 others. Does anyone care to chime in?
It looks like Ann Makowitz has raised a hand and requested to be recognized.
Okay, Ann?
Why are we trying to freeze the zoning? What's the
All right.
point?
Ann,
behind
would
it?
you mind just, I know it's a different process because we're all online, but would you state your name and your address for the record, please?
Sorry, Ann Makowitz, District 7, Cross Street, Norwood. What
Madam,
is,
can we have the address, please?
Say it
District
again,
7.
Ann. I'm sorry.
I said Cross Street.
Street
Yeah,
address, please.
Ann Makowitz, District 7, Cross Street, Norwood,
What street address?
24.
24 Cross Street, Mr. Hearn.
Thank you.
It's kind of going in and out.
My question again is, why are we freezing the zoning?
You want that question to go to Mr. Hearn, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Lee? Who do you want the question to go to?
Mr. McCormick?
Mr. McCormick.
Sure, I can handle that. So at the time that we submitted the plans, there was certain zoning that was in place that allowed for certain uses. We don't know what our plan is going to be yet we're still working through plans to redevelop the site, and we would like to have the zoning that was in place at that time. So we continue planning and trying to figure out the what could be potentially used for the property.
Okay, so it sounds to me like you're afraid that if the zoning changes that would limit use to the property, that's why you're doing this now.
Madam Chair.
Yes, yeah, okay. I'll let Mr. Hearn chime in,
Yeah.
but not for too long. Mr. Hearn, please. Thank you.
Okay, well, I want to answer the question. The question is, the zoning did change after we filed our preliminary plan. And we are seeking the protection that is allowed a property owner under the statute. This is nothing that's peculiar to Norwood or this property. This is under the state law that allows a party that owns property to freeze the zoning as it was prior to the town meeting vote with respect to the particular property. That's what we're doing. A property owner has certain rights with respect to property. You spend time and money trying to figure out what to do with the property. And in the middle of all that, the town votes to change the zoning. You can go along with the new zoning if it doesn't hurt you, or you can seek a zoning freeze, which protects you in terms of some things you might have been considering. That's all. That's what it is, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hearn. Ms. Makowitz, any other questions?
I am suspicious of freezing the zoning from a
You
perspective.
have to follow the rules. I
understand. The other concern I had is that Cross Point is pushing this as a development for a strip mall visible from Route 1. I hope all those trees along the ramp that comes up to the Manhattan Rotary are not slated for being decimated and taken down.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, but isn't that our Route 1 buffer that we're fighting with across the street? Isn't that in the buffer?
I would answer that question a little bit differently and just remind everyone that this is an application for a subdivision and not for any particular kind of development. So under the subdivision control law, an applicant proposed to divide out the land in a particular parcel as long as it complies with the zoning requirements and our subdivision rules and regulations. So what's proposed is really just about the creation of a roadway and the dividing of these parcels into 2 lots essentially for commercial use. There's no, strip mall or industrial warehouse or, any sort of particular use that's being proposed here. The application is really about the proposed roadway and the dividing of lots.
Follow-on question. You mentioned the word commercial. Instead of commercial, what if housing went in there?
Well, we
What's
can,
before us is an application for a commercial 2-lot subdivision. That's what the application is for.
well, we have to go with what the application is for.
Mhm.
I understand everybody's questions, but we can't future pace. We can, however, say, here's what you're allowed to do with this decision. And then when that comes back to us, we're allowed to discuss that. So we all know what we want and don't want, the buffer, but that's not what they're asking for. So we have to stay with what they're asking for.
Thank you for the explanation.
Okay, anybody else? I have 7 others on there, Sarah, but I don't see anybody but Ann on a picture. Anybody else want to raise their hand and ask any questions? Okay. My board have any other questions? Anything you want to add? Where'd Brian go?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. What's the flavor? What are you thinking?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Hearn?
I just, can we just review the conditions and see where we stand on all of those? There were 7 proposed conditions. I don't, for the most part, I don't think there are any issues. We talked about number 1. Number 2 is upon a notice of intent to proceed with construction, the review of the planning board shall include traffic impacts and site access improvements to offset project-related impacts. And site access, I'm not sure, site access improvements to offset project-related impacts may be required based on the board's findings. I think this is in the same category as number 1. We're asking you to approve a subdivision. We have given you everything that's required under that. And this sounds like it's covering something that is yet to come. So we don't know what we're going to put there. So I don't know where number 2 comes in.
But Mr. Hearn, Mike, and I've read this and talked to, and my board is welcome to disagree. Because this has been going on for so long and there's so many questions that aren't definitive, you're following the rules and the laws and all that. But in addition to our standard conditions, these aren't, I don't think they're asking too much. They're about as ambiguous as the request for splitting a lot and doing a cul-de-sac, in my opinion.
That may be your opinion, Madam Chair, but the fact of the matter is this again suggests that we have to go through another review to build a subdivision, that a cul-de-sac, a roadway that we're asking you to approve tonight. So, I mean, how many times do we have to review the same thing? That's what this looks like. And maybe I misunderstood it, but when I read this, it's like, I got a big question mark here. What is this all about? It looks like another review of something that you've been reviewing for the last few months.
I don't totally disagree with you. However, this has been a contentious, somebody's got their background noise on. Ann, do you have your TV on? I'm getting feedback here. It's been contentious. And again, I don't always agree with Sarah, and she knows that, even though she's more knowledgeable in this than I am. But I'm more comfortable with 1 and 2. I don't disagree that we've already done this, but it's so nebulous. Go ahead, board, chime in. Ernie, Joe's raising his hand.
If it's redundant or it's not needed at this time, I think we can take that off.
Okay, well, are we moving? There's Brian. Where'd Ernie go? Ernie, are you there?
I'm still here.
Do you want to throw anything in?
Yeah, I agree with Joe. I don't know if we've, if we really need that traffic impact on building a cul-de-sac and having them come back. It says that the planning board may may be required based on the board's findings, but I think I agree with Joe. I don't think it's necessary on this particular project.
Okay, let's go to number 3.
Wait a minute, is Mr. Hatchie in on that? I just,
Mr. Hatchie is muted and doesn't have his hand up. You want to,
No, I've said my piece. I think I'm falling in line with Joe and Ernie on this. That
okay,
nice.
okay, number 3?
Number 3 is fine. We talked about that. That's with, getting the information on the plans that Mr. Ryan requested and talking with him.
From this memorandum on January 22nd, is that the one you're referring to?
That's the one, yeah. And that it's referred to in the condition and that's fine with us. That's
Okay,
fine.
number 4?
Number 4 is fine. This asks us to come up with names, along with a notice of intent to proceed with construction. So when we get to that point, we'll come up with some names. I think we're required to produce one proposed name and one alternative name.
Number 5?
No problem. Number 5, I think I had a question on that, if I may. The only landscaping that is involved in this subdivision is the installation of street trees. And our plans show street trees and the species that Mr. Ryan recommended. So it's not like.
Ryan recommended trees?
What is that?
Mr. Ryan recommended the trees?
He recommended, let me go to the note that I have, if I find it in the, Mark Ryan in a memo going back October 29th,
Oh, God, okay.
he wanted us to provide street tree planting detail, and he recommended thornless honey locust for the street trees. And those are in our plan.
So you're okay with number 5?
So number 5, no, I'm saying number 5, we don't think we need a final landscaping plan. It's already in our plans. Something signed by a landscape architect. We're doing just what Mr. Ryan suggested.
I understand that, Mr. Hearn, and every one of them seems a little redundant, but if it's redundant, why is it a problem to leave them in?
Because it requires us to do something more than what we've already done with respect to providing the trees.
Ernie's got his hand up.
To another plan and get a landscape architect to sign the plan. When it's not like we're putting in multiple species of bushes and grasses and trees.
Let me let Ernie in.
Well, I think Attorney Hearn was basically stealing my thunder. I think this would be more applicable if this was a full-blown development where we're requiring landscaping. We're not really requiring landscaping here other than street trees. We're actually removing landscaping a little bit. So I think this would be more applicable if we were putting in a shopping center or a building where we would require landscaping around the building and landscaping in parking lot islands and things like that. I think this, where we're just talking about street trees, either Brian or Kerry, is it on the plan that, I'm sorry, Brendan, and is it on the plan what trees you
Yes.
plan on using? It's listed on the plan, right?
Yes.
It's street trees. I'm fine with that.
Again, Joe?
I think when these were written up, they were well thought out, but the way things have turned out, not all these things are necessary. And I think that's kind of a theme going through here as we look, but let's continue on, I guess.
Okay, number 6.
That's fine. Number 6 requires us under chapter 41, section 81U to provide a performance guarantee, and we will do that at the appropriate time when we record the plan. I mean, the most common thing we do is file the covenant on the town's form.
Okay, number 7.
Number 7, yeah, this is fine. This is in keeping with your rules and regulations.
The infrastructure shall be completed within 2 years of the board's endorsement of the approved definitive subdivision.
Exclusive of any time to resolve an appeal, and you may on one or more occasions and for good cause extend the time limit. So yes, that's pretty much straight out of the rules, your own rules and regulations.
Which I understand, and I'm gonna belabor it one more time. If it's redundant And it's just a.
No.
All right.
It's not redundant. This is one that makes sense and we have no.
No, I'm
problem.
not saying this one's redundant. I'm saying you don't like 1, 2, 3,
Oh, I didn't say 3.
These are-
3 is fine.
1, 2. Okay, 3's
1,
okay.
2, and 5 are redundant. They were drafted,
But
I
if
think,
they're redundant, why can't I have them?
because they require us to do things that have already been done and give you another bite of the apple when you don't need another bite of the subdivision apple. You will get multiple bites of the apple if we come in with a proposed redevelopment of the site that includes
Okay, okay, hold
plan-
that thought.
permits.
Hold that thought. If we'll get another bite of the apple if you come in with a new subdivision plan,
No, not a new subdivision
or
plan,
I'm sorry, a new,
a
plan.
development plan.
okay, new development plan.
Yeah.
But you're not going to violate any of these, so why can't we leave them in?
Because these suggest that our subdivision plan is subject to further review and revision by the board and maybe turned down by the board. That's what number 1 says effectively. Number 2.
I don't read it that way. I don't read it that way.
I do, and I spent a lot of time reading it here. I think that it says that you have to hold a public hearing on the adequacy of plans, information, and waiver requests. That goes back to when we proposed a plan with a whole bunch of waivers that are now gone.
Okay, but it also says special permits, land disturbance permits such as applied for and received prior to commencement of any work.
Wait a minute, which one, where's that?
Number 1, under suggested conditions of approval. So just in case
But
we
those-
didn't count all those trees,
That applies anyway. But it refers to special permits and site plan approval. Those and land disturbance permits shall be applied for when those things are done. You have to approve the special permits. You have to approve site plan review. Though but that's not.
okay,
before
all
now,
right, so we have to approve it anyway, so why can't we leave it in?
because it has nothing to do with the subdivision plan. We're focused, this is a subdivision plan. Site plan and special permit have nothing to do with subdivision plans.
I'm just looking for a little extra cushion, just a little extra
I
oversight.
think that, I think a cushion that requires us to go through another set of approvals. Let me ask this,
Doesn't say shall though, it says may.
do you, no, it gives you
That was another one.
the right to do all kinds of things. Do you do this to any other subdivision application? No. You don't. You don't say, come back and we'll review again whether to approve your subdivision that we approved 2 years ago.
Right, but this one is one that it wasn't a straightforward, Joe, are you raising your hand or you?
It started out,
Yes.
different. We straightened it out.
It would be like Groundhog Day. You'd be coming back
Feels like
when
Groundhog
you
Day.
don't have to. You either give them the approval or you don't.
Okay. All right, what's the flavor of the board? I'm not getting anywhere with it, so do we have any consensus here? Brian, Ernie, Joe? You want to continue, you want to take a vote?
That would be fine.
Which? I gave you 2 options, continue or take a vote.
Are we ready to take a vote?
I think we
Make
have
a
to
motion
Close
to
the public hearing first.
close the
Okay.
public hearing.
You ready to close it? No more questions?
You have someone online, I believe.
But nobody's raising their hand. Sarah, it says 7 and somebody's face, but,
Ann Makowitz has raised her hand.
oh, okay, sorry. You're muted, Ann.
Ann Makowitz, District 7, 24 Cross Street. Why are we not using native deciduous trees like elms that are resistant to Dutch and oak trees that are acornless or sycamores?
I don't know.
I can respond to that.
Okay, Brandon?
The street trees proposed are native species and they are chosen from the subdivision rules and regs. We had initially shown maples, but then as suggested by Mark Ryan, we've proposed honey locusts as shown on the plans. So again, these are native trees and they are from the subdivision rules and regs list of trees.
And I think the reason Mark, as I talked to him about that, was they go vertical, they don't go as horizontal, so you're not hitting them with when you're walking under them as they grow. Is that correct, Brendan? That was, I think, Mark Ryan's reasoning behind them. So,
But trees can always be groomed so that they're not drooping down.
right, but we can't, again, if they meet the rules and regulations of what they can pick, then we can't tell them we don't like this, we want that.
Yeah, I understand that. Brandon, what other trees were listed?
Madam Chair, these were recommended by the town engineer.
Yeah, they were recommended by the town engineer. And there's a whole list of them, Ann, and could she get that online if she wanted to, Sarah? Yep,
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Thank you.
all right. Ernie is raising his hand.
Well, I think at one point on some of those trees, and I'm not gonna get into the whole tree thing, it's the root ball. You know, a lot of those trees, oaks and, you know, the maples and stuff like that have extending root systems that encroach on, you know, eventually break up sidewalks, get into the street, things like that. So there's a list of accepted native species trees on that you can choose from. Mark Ryan has chose this one.
And he
I'm
is the
fine with
tree
that.
czar after all.
That's right.
Okay, all right. Well,
Madam Chair, if you'd like, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved. Second?
seconded by Joe. All in favor of closing the public hearing?
You gotta do
I don't have
roll
anybody
call.
else online, right, Sarah?
Oh,
Okay. We have to
You
do
do
a
need
roll
to have
call.
a roll call vote.
I have to
Yeah.
do a roll call because we're online. Brian, for closing the public hearing.
yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Ernie,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. So the public hearing is closed. I cannot take any more comments from the applicant or the public. Okay. Do we want to continuance or do we want to vote on this?
I'm ready to vote tonight, Madam
Joe,
Chair.
you ready to
I'm
vote?
ready.
Brian?
Ready to vote.
Okay, Sarah, I can't split the baby, right? It's either all or nothing on the waiver request, or I'm sorry, on the suggested
board-
conditions of
Board
approval?
can make a motion to include any and all waivers, or not waivers, apologize, conditions it so chooses. So the list that was provided to you was a draft of potential conditions that you might wish to have handy to guide your discussion, but it's really at the discretion of the board to move to include whatever conditions you so choose. That said, my recollection, my notes based on your discussion is that based on the suggested conditions of approval, there seems to be consensus to move forward with conditions 3, 4, 6, and 7.
That's what I've got also, 3, 4, 6, and 7. So if there's not consensus, can we do them? Can we vote on them one at a time of the conditions, or do I have to take it all or nothing?
I see what you mean, like procedurally. I think with these conditions, it's not necessarily necessary to take a vote on each one. If it's clear or there's a motion that can reflect the will of the board, I think you're fine to proceed to a motion on.
Well, I have to say, if I know the other board members are ready, I am not, because I'm, but if I vote on this, I either have to vote no because I don't like 3 of them, or I have to vote yes and take all of them, or take those out, right? Because we're not gonna attach this, or we're gonna take out 1, 2, 4, and 5. Right?
My memo is just
A suggestion.
ideas. It's just
Okay.
ideas. It's the will of the board on how to proceed. You know, you guys have the discretion to
All right, what do you want, Will of the
here,
board?
to amend these conditions or to come up with conditions all completely on your own. That's
All
your
right.
authority.
Ernie, go.
All right, Madam Chair, I'm gonna make a motion to approve with conditions number 3, 4, 6, and 7 to be included in the decision.
Wait a minute, 3, 4,
Did I get
6.
the numbers right? I believe I did. We're eliminating 1, 2, and 5. So that would leave conditions 3, 4, 6, and 7. would be part of the decision.
Can I talk you into 5?
That's my motion.
Second,
Okay,
I ask a procedural question, I'm not offering evidence, but would it make sense to include reference to the waivers that you effectively voted on at the prior meeting in the final, so they're included in the final decision?
the ones that are on this sheet, 4.3.3K, 4.3 those, or the
Those
ones from before?
and the reference to the cul-de-sac, yes. Do you want to include those in your decision?
I think they'll definitely be in the decision, but I agree with Attorney Hearn. I think it would be helpful to make reference to the waivers that the board already voted to approve. And just for quick reference, those are the 3 listed on your memorandum.
Okay.
Those were affirmative waiver requests on section 4.3.3.K, 4.3.3.P, and 5.6.2.F.
Madam Chair, I'll add those to my motion.
and I'll second that.
Okay,
That they're noted.
okay, so the waiver requests, summary of okay. Area of further review. We want to. Are we going to include areas of further review in the decision or just Mark Ryan's memorandum from January 22nd? Term in the application agreement.
It's
Okay,
covered,
number
Madam
2 is
Chair.
number 2. Okay, so we're leaving in areas, we're leaving in both of these in our decision? Yes, Brian, Joe, Ernie?
Yes,
It's there.
Okay, yes, so we're leaving that in. All right. And your conditions of approval, you're leaving in 3, 4, 6, and 7, taking out
Correct.
1 and 2?
1, 2, and 5 are out.
So I gotta take all or nothing. Okay,
Madam Chair, again, procedurally, areas of further review were just suggestions of what you were going to discuss tonight. Are those intended to be part of a decision? I'm
Yes.
Asking procedurally, so I understand
Yes.
the decision.
Debbie, that was just my memo to you. That's just correspondence.
okay,
Right.
but
The motion, Madam Chair, the motion is to
Motion to
accept
approve
with
the
the
vote.
waiver requests noted and numbers 3, 4, 6, and 7 of the conditions.
okay, everybody understands that? Even me?
yes,
And we're attaching Mark Ryan's, which is going to be part of the decision, correct? Yes?
Fine with us.
Okay. I'll take a roll call vote. Brian,
Yes.
Joe,
yes.
Ernie,
Yes.
and I am a reluctant yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we'll proceed accordingly, Madam Chair. Thank you very much, all of you, for your time tonight and for
Right.
working with us on this process. All right, I think we're all set.
Good night.
And we'll
Thank
be in
you.
touch with Mr. Ryan, and we'll be in touch with the planning department and Ms. Dixon with the updated plans.
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
for all the time. Thank you.
next on the agenda. I asked our planning director regarding our associate member selection, because we do need an associate member, and we've all got the list. Does Ernie, go?
Just, Madam Chair, are we doing this in executive session?
No, we are not allowed to go into executive session.
Madam
We're
Chair,
not-
if I can kind of bring the board up to speed on our
Okay.
discussions.
All right.
At the planning board's last meeting, you had suggested that you would like to convene an executive session to review the applications that were received for the associate board member position. I did do some research and discussed that idea with town council, who determined that that's not an allowable use of executive session. As you know, state law is pretty specific about the circumstances that boards can essentially speak privately and not in front of the public, and vetting candidates for a board are not an allowable use of executive session. So the board really has two paths that it can take. One is it can discuss all of the applications in public session. Or, and this is probably a more efficient use of time and probably what I would recommend to you, that it appoint a subcommittee to review all of the applications and come back to the full group with a recommendation of either one or two top candidates. And at that point, the board can discuss that top candidate, perhaps make an interview if it so chooses, and then make the appointment in public session. But the subcommittee would consist of 2 members of the board, as not to convene a quorum of the planning board.
Yep. Sarah, just a quick question. What's the timeline? I mean, do we have any rules on the timeline on this?
You don't, but I would recommend doing this as quickly as possible. It's been vacant for a while. And most of the applications were submitted back in November and December. So I would recommend, out of respect for the interested candidates' time, moving on this fairly quickly.
Okay. I have talked to Sarah about this. We got really good applications. We're like the people want to be an associate member. I think that's great. And we've got good applications. So does anyone want to volunteer to be on the subcommittee? And we can only have 2. Is that correct, Sarah? And what the subcommittee is going to do is go from 6 candidates to 1 or 2, up to you.
Envision setting up some sort of a meeting, either remotely or perhaps in my office at a time that's convenient for those 2 individuals. It could be during the workday or in the evening to discuss. I can assist in that conversation and just kind of keep track of follow-up items and any sort of administrative follow-up that would be required. But yeah, it would be winnowing down the list of resumes again to that top 1 or 2 to recommend to the full board.
And I know we all want to do it. Does anybody want to raise their hand first? Okay, we got crickets. Joe? Ernie?
I'll do
Are
it.
you our guys?
I'll
You
do
would
it.
like to be the subcommittee? Yes?
Sure. Unless Brian would like to do it, that's fine. I'm good. I'm retired. I have time.
All right, Brian's kind of up to his eyeballs in alligators.
Thank
think.
you. I thank you, gentlemen, for wishing to do it. I think time-wise, you're probably better equipped. So,
All right.
excellent.
And Sarah, quick question. Is the chair allowed to ask questions or give,
I can give you an update.
can I talk to these 2?
I can give you an update. Communication, again, just to be respectful of open meeting law, should probably convene through my office. I can communicate with you when Joe and Ernie have recommendations ready. That way you can prepare the next agenda for the full group.
Okay. Because again, I want to say to all those people, I'll get you 1 second, Joe, that I am very gratified that this many people have stepped up and said they want to do this. I think this is really an important thing that we get more bodies into the process. Joseph?
If they're going to meet with you, do they get to fly down to Florida?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to know.
You can get a plane out. Okay, so.
All right, Joe and Ernie, I'll be in touch. We can set something up.
Okay, so
Great, thank
associate
you.
member.
Do we have to vote on the subcommittee or no? Like establishing it?
I don't
No?
think that's
Okay.
necessary.
Right.
Okay, take a vote on minutes from December 1st. Did everybody read them? Everybody good? Anybody want to make a motion? To
Make a motion to accept.
the minutes from December 1st, all in favor, roll call. Brian?
We
Second.
need a second. I think Joe just seconded.
Sorry, Joe second.
And then the roll call, Brian Hashi, yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yes.
And the chair is yes. And that's it, unless anybody has anything else they want to toss in.
There's no other business before the board that was advertised. So a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Make a
Motion to
motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
All in favor? Brian?
Second.
Oh, seconded by Joe, sorry.
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Ernie,
Yes.
and I am a yes. Stay warm, guys. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Yes, we will. All right. Thank you all.